Wi-Fi maybe?
Alright.
Can people hear us now? Can you hear?
Hi, can you hear us? Hello? No. Yes, no? Better. Alright, good.
So people can hear.
Alright. How do you do that?
So you don't need to do that. Okay, so I'm going to talk Lance through how to use this live
I have
situation.
no idea what I'm doing.
So you'll see the comments come up, so you can say hello to the comments, and then here is where people send questions in, then Lance will answer the questions that are in the question box, and yeah, that's basically what you need to do.
Alright, cool. I think I got it. This is what we're talking about. Has anybody read this? Hopefully somebody has. Is that questions there?
Yeah, so questions.
All right. Wow, there's questions. All right. Do you want to hang out, or are you?
No, I'm gonna go back upstairs.
He's gonna go back upstairs with Robbie.
Yes.
All right.
Right.
Give him cuddles. Tom just got off a plane from Japan, and was kind enough to help me figure that out. I hope it's working. But before I get into it too much, I just want to say thank you to all the people who've actually gotten the book or listened to the book, and have shared my family story and my mom's story. Some of you might have heard me say this, but it was a book that I really wanted to write because I thought that my mom's message of creating bridges between very different people was a necessary one right now. And I hope that people got that from the book. All right, I'm going to check out what these questions say. We'll see how many are PG. What's your favorite? I see. How did you choose the cover? Wait, it looks like it just switched around. I don't know what I'm doing here. Hold on. There it is. All right, how did I choose the cover? That's a good question. You know, actually, the UK cover, which has a sparkly hand on it, is based on this, and I had it ready. And this was a little thing I did a long time ago, probably before many of you were born, that was when I traced my hand, and the teacher traced it with glue, and we put glitter on it. I guess I was 3 years old. And the designer of the UK cover came over and looked through all my old things and chose this actual thing to make into a cover. But I do like that even at 3 years old, I tended to go towards rainbow glitter. My mom should have known then. All right, next question. Just bear with me. Let's see. How do you stay inspired to write new things? You know, I tend to have a really long list of things I want to write. So there's always things that I'd like to be working on and writing. I just don't always find the time to do them all. And the problem is you kind of need time to be able to have the space to write things and do things right. That's just the truth of the matter. So for me, it's usually about having to say no to things that I would love to be doing. But how do I stay inspired? I would say the number one thing I do is drink a lot of coffee. The number two thing I think that's common for a lot of writers is you take long walks. Not writing is a big part of writing. Giving yourself time to think about what it is you want to say. I'm just going to say hi. Hold on. How old were you when you came out? You got to read the book. It's in the book. How old when you came out? I was like 21 years old. But it was a slow process, isn't it? Coming out. You start coming out. Maybe there's the first person you tell. I was 21. And then my family, it wasn't until I was, a little bit older. And then every now and then I'll just be in a cab here in London and I'll have to come out all over again. Let's see. Did you cut any scenes because your Texan family refused to let you publish it? Good question. No, thankfully I didn't have to. But I did let my Southern family, my good Southern family, read it before I published it. And there was at least one conversation that was tough with my cousin Lynn, who wasn't sure he wanted to be included. And I gave him a little bit of space and just said, hey, buddy, anything you want to take out, feel free to take it out. And so he thought about it, and he called me the next day and said, know what, I like it just how it is. And not only did I publish it without having to take anything out, my wonderful cousin Lynn came to a book signing in Dallas, which was really moving for me, because he hasn't always been the most accepting when it comes to LGBT people, but that's changing. Did I already think about writing the book when my mom was still alive? No. I didn't. I only thought about writing the book in the past 2 years because it seems like people who are very different from one another had stopped talking to each other. It seems like news channels are telling us if we are of different political persuasions or religions or beliefs or have different color skin or gender or whatnot, we're not supposed to get along. We're supposed to fight with one another. And my mom didn't believe that, and we certainly didn't abide by that in our family. And so it was after I'd lost her that I came to the belief that who she was and how she lived life and the bridges she built was something special to be shared. Hi, Liam. I just saw. Why are there two different covers between U.S. and U.K.? That's just how it goes. Honestly, the U.S. book was first, and you'll see there's that flower there, the ripped up and retaped together flower. That's meaningful if you've read the book. That certainly is this moment that I told my mom you could fix anything if you had enough tape or glue. Check it out. There might be a little bit of the fact that the cover's built of red, white, and blue is meaningful. And that it's all together is meaningful. But in the UK, they just it's a different publisher, and they wanted to have their own cover. This is so cool. Thank you, guys. Who's next? I just saw Tom is on. Hi, Tom. Tom's gone upstairs and is with our son, and clearly not paying attention to our son because he's watching this video right now. And you're welcome, Alice, for answering your question. Let's see, what's next? There's so many. Did my mom call me Lance or Dustin? My mom called me Lance. And that story, you can find that story in the book too. My father wanted to call me Dustin, my biological father. And in a Mormon family, which is very patriarchal, he won that. But you know what the truth is? The mom always wins in the end. And when my father wasn't around, she called me Lance. And so that stuck. And when he vanished, well, to hell with him. And I became Lance to the people who know me best. Let's see. Thank you, Sig76. How do we find strength to keep going? Again, coffee. Caffeine, cuddles. But, I also say, if you mean in terms of activism, take a break once in a while. Unplug from social media for a little while. Social media with activism, first of all, it's not always that effective. Second of all, it tends to go into the negative. And if you take a little time away from social media and think about what you hope to achieve, what you hope to create, what your dream is, well, that's a positive thing. And visualize that world that you'd like to help create. And that can motivate you to go on. So sometimes getting away from things like Instagram and Twitter can really help you if you're an activist. And frankly, it's probably very good for you to get away from this stuff when you're being creative, because you want to have a lot of space in your mind and your heart. And sadly, social media doesn't allow you that space. But for now, we're going to embrace it because we're having fun here. How long did the book take to write? it felt like 1,000 frickin' years, I got to tell you that. It took a long time. It took maybe 2 years from the time that I pitched it. And you know, in that time, things changed. I also, here's a little story I don't tell often. I would read chapters to Tom at night when he was home from practice. And there was this one, and just to see how he reacted, because something about reading them aloud, you kind of hear it, and you can hear if it's good or bad or entertaining or not, and how it sounds out loud. And there was one night I was reading a chapter that was really meaningful to me, and he got really quiet, and I thought, boy, this is really resonating. He's so quiet and really paying attention. And then I looked over when I was done, and he was fast asleep. And I thought, oh, thanks a lot, Tom. That's the worst thing anyone's ever done when I was reading a chapter. So at that point, I rewrote that chapter. And that may have, added a couple extra months to the writing process. USA or UK? Depends on the season. Let's see. Any more book signings in London in the future? There is a book event in the UK that's coming up in the fall, a big one, and I'll put it on my website, dustinlanceblack.com, under appearances as soon as the date is locked down. Would I ever read it for an audiobook version? Yeah, and I have, and you can listen to it. And that was tough. Let me tell you, that felt like bad therapy. Try reading out loud, surrounded by lovely strangers, but strangers, every one of the most dramatic moments of your life. And every now and then I would have to take a walk around the block to shed a few tears, to decompress. And I remember when I was transitioning from something that was very intense and tough, and I might have gotten a little tearful, and the next chapter might be very funny and energetic, and my lovely, wonderful director, she said, just imagine a bumblebee, because it's hard to be sad when you're thinking about a bumblebee. And she was right. And when we ended the audiobook, she gave me a little bumblebee pin that was her own mother's. And I wear it on my backpack everywhere I go now. So yes, there is an audio version, Billy. Let's see who's next. There's so many questions. I might have to do this again, huh? Would I ever write a sci-fi script or novel? Oh my gosh, Frypod, you just hit the bullseye. Yes, I am a sci-fi geek, nerd, obsessed. From the age of 19 to way too long to be considered a youth, I was the youth president. This is a big secret. I was the youth president of the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. It's what I loved it. I just ended up in a different kind of pigeonhole that I love, where I get to tell true stories of people who inspire me. But sci-fi, I actually think you can investigate society in a very deep way, and in a way that people will actually tune in and watch using genre and writing sci-fi. So probably I should do that. Make some time for that. Star Trek or Star Wars? Star Wars. Sorry, I know there's a lot of Trekkies out there. Will I write a book for Robbie? Okay, I'd love to. I'd love to write a kid's book. Do you think one is ever too old to get into a new creative enterprise? Absolutely not. I have to say, one of my favorite writers growing up as a kid was Kurt Vonnegut. And I thought he was very funny, and by the way, was writing like sci-fi genre stuff, but talking about the world as we knew it and what we needed to fix and change about it. But if you really look into it, he was a PR writer, as far as I know, for a big industrial company until he was in his 40s, and that's when he began writing. And by the time we lost him, he was one of the great writers of all times. How's parenting treating you and Robbie? Well, I'm not sure this has to do with Mama's Boy, but I will answer it. It is great. I have not slept in 4 days. So there's dark circles. Holy crap. Let's see. Would you like to make a movie based on your book? I don't know. What do you think? You guys tell me. I think if I did, the book, Mama's Boy is not about me. Mama's Boy is about my mother, and I'm a supporting character in it. So if I could figure out a way to crack it that I thought was useful and was about her, yes, I would like. Maybe I'm not the one to do it. Maybe someone who has a bit more objectivity. Someone just said, you look a little old. I mean, I am. I'm old as dirt. Let's see. What is the best? Yes to film. Okay. All right. Yes to film. There's all these questions here. I'm going to go back into this question thing for just a bit because I feel like a jerk that I'm not answering them all. Wow. There's so many of these. All right. All right. These are... So a lot of these... All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep answering the questions that are coming through the thread. And what I'll do is at the end of this, my next Instagram post, I'll post a question. And then over the weekend, I'll answer some more. But man, some of those questions y'all are asking are filthy. You filthy, filthy-minded people. I mean, it's funny, but it's filthy. All right. Ingram, what inappropriate question did you ask? You're apologizing, I didn't read it. I would love to see more of your movies in the future. Well, if you've read the book, you know why I didn't make movies for about 5 years. And I'd like to see them now, too. And there are a few that are now back in the pipeline. So stay tuned. The one that I'm most excited about that's a movie is about Bayard Rustin. And if you don't know who he is, look up Bayard Rustin. But that's the one I'm working on right now. All right. Any other questions about the book? Do I think my mom would have liked the book? I think my mom would have been surprised at everything I discovered about her, because a lot of the stories that are in the book are things that I never knew. When I met my mom as, a baby and growing up, she was very, very conservative. And I never would have guessed that I would have found letters that she wrote when she was a little girl in a children's hospital in New Orleans, couldn't move her legs, her body, and even her arms for a little while. These letters were written to the young priests in training, and one in particular in New Orleans, trying to get him to leave the priesthood to marry her. And she was 14, 15 years old. She was a mighty flirt, and it seems she had a way with the men. So, and she had good taste in men. If you check out the book, she had this little golden book of boys, is what I called it, with the pictures of the cutest guys I think I'd ever seen. And like mother, like son, we had the same taste. And the awkward moment, there's two awkward moments. One is when we got to the back of her golden book of boys, and there was a little black and white picture. This was after dozens and dozens that she had collected of boys she was pen pals with and had met. And I said, well, who's that? And she said, Lance, that is your father. It was a very awkward moment. More awkward by a hair than the day after Tom met my mom. He did meet my mom. And it was Christmas time, and Tom had got home to celebrate the rest of Christmas with his family. And I walk into my mother's room, and she's sitting on the bed, and she has her iPad out, and she's Google searching images of my future husband at that point in Speedos. Awkward, but like mother, like son. Do you think you would have turned out different if I wasn't Mormon? If my mom wasn't Mormon? Yeah, of course. I mean, I think we're a product of who raises us. As much as I have problems with a lot that goes on in the Mormon church and the beliefs and how they treat gay people and women, I do value a lot of some of the other things I learned in the Mormon church, such as treating your neighbor like you'd like to be treated. It's a pretty good damn rule. To make family first and to prioritize family first. That's a great part of being Mormon. So, I'm not active Mormon anymore. I drink too much coffee, and I married a dude. So clearly, not a good Mormon in their eyes, but I do still value some of what they say. And I just saw that Aaron Grant is watching this, and his comment is more about Ryan. That's interesting, since Aaron is Ryan's husband. Hi, Aaron. How are you? And for anyone who hasn't, if you've read the book, you should look up Ryan Elizalde. He's a fantastic guy, and truly, I'm not sure I'd be around or alive if I hadn't met Ryan. I'll get tearful talking about that. Like, actually tearful. And so, if anyone has questions about Ryan, you can ask me, but you could probably also hit him up here on Instagram. He's a great guy. There's some funny things in here. A lot of people saying hi to Ryan. That's sweet. Loved the book. How do you think Marcus would be today as an LGBTQ man? Well, I still think he'd be about the most butch LGBTQ dude there is. It was really eye-opening how many stereotypes my gay big brother defied. And I think he just would still be that, being gay is like one part of who I am and is one part of who he was. And I think he would still, I think he would still be fishing and hunting and watching cars go around in circles. San Antonio or Austin? I mean, I grew up in San Antonio, but come on, Austin's awesome. Someone just asked if Merrill, my first stepfather, has gotten in contact with me. No, he's not tried to contact me for many decades. Did writing the book bring back any lost memories of my mom? Many. But you know what? More than that, one of the things that I thought was important to do with the book was to get it right. And memory is a funny thing. Memory is not solid. Memory is not actually that reliable. And so whenever I'm interviewing people for other movies, what I do is I get 2 or 3 people together who experience that or are experts in that field, and I have them share their stories together. And in that way, they correct each other's memories, and you get maybe, hopefully, slightly closer to what actually happened. And that's what I did to myself. So I got together cousins and aunts and uncles and friends and people who had been there when the events happened in the book, and frankly, they corrected a lot of what I thought had happened. And then I went and dug through my mother's things, which is an interesting. I'm not sure she thought I would ever find this stuff. I pulled a few out. This is the paper that she wrote called "Our Suffering," that you read about in the book, and it's typed on this really thin paper by an actual typewriter, and you can see where I've marked the pages with things that I thought I might include, and I think I actually include 2 or 3 of those bits in the book. Lance, take your shirt off. Wow. You know what? Not today, but I've been working out, all right? And we're going on vacation in Mexico, so stay tuned. We'll see. Though I still think Tom will always have better abs. There you go. Do I still have contact with Jeff? Absolutely. I was texting with Jeff today because Jeff had a dream come true last night and went to an Aerosmith concert, and he sent me pictures from it. No, Jeff really did save our lives, and still in contact. And Todd and I went to his wedding to Joanna, his new wife, just last year. And it was beautiful. And then Joanna and her kids came over here to London to celebrate with our family, to celebrate Christmas last year. So, all right. Sir Ricardo, when will you jump off 10 meter? How about we drop that, all right? That didn't work out so well. Let's see. Do I miss the big glass red bowl for the fruit salad? What a thoughtful question. Thank you. You really read the book. Yeah, I never knew the big red glass bowl because it broke before I was around. My mom missed it, and my mom would, when she told the story, would still tear up. And I know I'm the luckiest guy on the planet, so you guys can keep saying that on these questions. But what you don't know is that I'm the luckiest guy on the planet for many a reason, because Tom, for Christmas, after reading that chapter, bought me a burgundy glass bowl for fruit salad. Let's see. Oh my gosh, 106 in Dallas today. I'm so sorry. Come to Texas. I was just there. I did the book tour through there, and hopefully coming back to Dallas for a big book signing, doing a little church tour through Texas with the book later in the fall. And when do we decide about baby names? That has nothing to do with this book, but I will tell you. Tom and I decided on our babies' names on our second date, and we stuck with it. Oh, I'm so sorry, Penelope, about your grandma's dish. Did I meet again with a Jewish kid, Troy? No, but if anyone knows, if any one of you, because actually the truth is I changed the name, and so his real name is not Troy. There's a few names I changed because I wasn't able to get a hold of them or find them before publishing the book, and I didn't want to, share a story that someone didn't want shared. But I would love to meet Troy again and apologize. If anyone hasn't read the book yet, I was not always the most accepting person, understanding person, and it took some time to get to the place I'm at now. Do you want more children? Yes, but only like 12 or 13 more. Say something in Spanish. Hablo español, sí. I'm from places where everyone speaks Spanish. So let's see. I'll do a few more of these, and then hi, Reed. Reed is on. Hi, Reed. Reed's mentioned in the book because he is the director of 8 the Mormon Proposition, which caused enough good trouble to earn an invite to speak with the Mormons in the Mormon Church. So if anybody is on and wants to say hi to Reed, he's on here right now. Go Reed. He's a very, very good troublemaker and a gay dad. Do you think you would have been a different person if my mom didn't move us to California? Well, the truth is, my mom did move us there, but it was also thanks to Jeff, who had orders to move there. And yes, sadly, I would never have heard the name Harvey Milk if I hadn't moved to California. I might not have known there were other people like me until it was too late. And it was only that turn of luck moving to California that I finally met actual openly gay people. And that did give me hope. Harvey was right. And I did hear the story of Harvey Milk. And it gave me a little more hope. And it didn't heal things overnight. It took a little time. But moving to California absolutely saved my life. And I think that that's sad, actually. And part of what we fight for when we say things like fighting for federal equality Well, to people who aren't American, that means fighting so that everybody in every state and every county and every town in the country I come from have the same rights, the same access to know that they had forefathers and foremothers who were LGBT, who fought for their lives, and so that they can have hope as well. You know, we ought to have the same opportunity to have hope, to be people of diversity, whether we call California our home, or Texas, or Louisiana, or Mississippi. And so, yes, moving to California, sadly, was the turn of luck that saved my life. And I hope we don't have to depend on luck for too much longer to give young people hope. Let's see. Boy. What is it about? No, I'm not answering that. When did I decide to write the book? You know, I really didn't want to write this book for a very, very long time, and I finally was introduced to Kate Hoyt, who is an agent at CAA, and frankly, she gave me the courage to do it. And she introduced me to Tim O'Connell at Knopf, who is my editor, who also gave me the courage day in and day out to keep going. And so really, it's something that I was terrified to do. And thanks to Kate Hoyt and to Anna and Tim at Knopf, I somehow finished it. All right, how about just a few more? I'll take it to 6:40. How's that? Advice for queer Southerners. All right, this is just something that I've learned. Keep the avenues of communication open with the people you love, even if they don't accept you or understand. And it's hard. It's not easy, but it is one of the messages of the book. Keep talking. You're going to hear things you don't want to hear, but the only way to ever heal, to keep your family together, to allow understanding to take place and learning to take place, is if you continue to communicate. If you shut the door, which is what so many do, if you step into your little box, into your little tribe that it seems too many news channels and politicians say we must belong to, well, then nothing will ever change. So to my lovely people of diversity in the South, who are different in so many beautiful ways, keep talking. And if you need to leave to be safe, then leave. But for those who can stay and continue to fight and communicate, please keep up the fight and keep talking. That's what will create change. What was the hardest part of the writing process? The blank page. Yeah, it's a bear. Just sitting down with that blank page. And for me, what helps get past that, again, always coffee. And then number 2, doing a little outline on note cards, just to know what the beginning, the middle, and the end are. And those can be moved around and changed easily, so it doesn't feel like this gargantuan effort to change something when it's on note cards. And then once you love your little note cards, you have a beginning, a middle, end, you know the little stories you're going to tell throughout, then it gets a little bit easier. You know what you're writing toward, and that always helps. Did you not use index cards? I do. I always use index cards. There were index cards for just about every chapter, though there are a couple chapters that some may know are ripped directly from speeches that I've given on the road, particularly coming out to my mom, that chapter. And that had been on old note cards, but I really wrote that from memory. Let's see. Couple more, 1 or 2 more, 2 more minutes, because then I gotta go upstairs. My husband just got home. I miss him, and we're gonna make some dinner. And I'm not gonna go into the details of what else. Where did the title "Mama's Boy" come from? You know, that is a good question. It was just something that was used as an insult against a bunch of gay boys in the South where I come from, and I just thought, well, I ought to own it. It's true, I am a mama's boy. Not only am I happy but proud to be a gay person, and I love my mom. I'm a mama's boy. And so I actually thought about changing it many a time, and it was Tim O'Connell, my editor, who said, "No way, you're keeping it the same. That's the title." And then let's see. All right, bye. I'm saying bye to a couple people. What's one thing? Oh, I don't know. Would you write another book? First of all, hi, Raul. Love you from Bake Off. I just saw you're on here. Adore you. But would I write another book? And I think that's probably the last one for tonight. And we'll do this again when more people have been able to read the book. But yes, I think there might be another book in my future. But again, I don't believe there's much use in writing a book until you understand what its purpose is. And it takes us kind of full circle. There was no reason to write a book and just pat myself on the back for the things that I've been able to do and see and achieve. If you're going to write something, I hope, this is what I tell my students in classes, how is it going to be like a little chaos bomb? A good chaos bomb, a good bit of troublemaking that you can drop into the future, and it's going to crack things open and shake things up just enough to create some good, positive change. With this book, I hoped that this idea you could build bridges between people of difference all of a sudden sadly seemed radical. And so I'm hoping that that's what it'll do in some parts of the world where people need to hear that bridges can be built, and that the boxes we live in are imaginary, and that tribes are not the way to create positive change, and that the brave amongst us are the ones who continue to share our stories, even when it's difficult, on that most powerful stage there is in the world, and that's the dining room table, usually with your family and your neighbors. And if I ever think of a story of my own that I think can cause some more good trouble in the world and shake things up, break things open that need to be broken open, well then, yeah, I'll go through that pain again. All right. I love you guys. This is so amazing. I can't believe how many of you are here. I will, on the next Instagram post, I'll post a question or I'll post some. I'll have Tom tell me how to do it, and then if you ask questions, I'll try over the weekend to answer some more. It'll be great because it'll be one more excuse not to do my damn work. All right, I love you guys. Keep causing trouble, good trouble. Break things up, shake things up. The world needs changing right now, and go have those really tough conversations where you can. Thank you so much for tuning in and for, reading my and my mother's story. Love you all. Bye.